Hey everybody, it's Abishur Prakash, aka Mr. Geopolitics. In this episode of The Week Ahead in Geopolitics, we'll be looking at the US-China cyber tensions, the French sovereign downgrade, and trade optimism around the US and India. Don't forget to stay until the very end for a wild card that could play out next week. Let's jump right in. First, the US-China relationship is entering even more dangerous waters. China has accused the US of launching a cyber attack on its national time center. This is the center in China that controls and moderates time throughout the country. And this comes as the US-China fight increases, as China doubles down on its rare earth limits and curbs, as the US-China meeting between Trump and Xi at the upcoming APEC summit in South Korea is up in the air, especially as Washington threatens 100% tariffs on Chinese imports starting from November. By the end of next week, if the situation does not improve, China could retaliate against the US, citing the cyber attack, viewing it as cyber hostilities, bringing cyber warfare from the periphery to the center of the US-China fight, placing it on the same level as tariffs and technology. Second, the S&P has downgraded the French credit rating to a new low, citing fiscal and economic uncertainty in the country. This comes after Fitch, a separate credit rating agency, downgraded France in September. All of this is happening as the world watches the national politics in France enter a very unfamiliar, uncertain state where constantly political leaders are either resigning or being appointed because the country cannot find a way through its current gridlock. By the end of next week, the French political and economic crises could begin to converge and morph in a very dangerous way for France, for Europe, and the world on the back of populism and investor sentiment. Third, the US and India may be nearing a new trade deal that revolves around America cutting tariffs on Indian imports and India slashing its purchases of Russian energy. This has been a big headache for the US and India ever since Trump raised the heat on New Delhi. This has undone over 30 years of American geostrategy that sought to embrace India. Now, after months of fallout, after months of distance, the US and India may be coming closer together. Of course, how India slashes Russian energy is up in the air, considering Russia supplies 40% of India's daily oil needs. By the end of next week, a new trade deal may be announced that puts economy first, that seeks to repair US-India relations. However, in this new trade deal, economics could outrun geopolitics as the trade deal is announced, but India and the US remain at a distance on many other fronts. Now comes the wild card. Japan has elected its first female prime minister, Sanae Takaichi, as a conservative and nationalist leader. As a wave of nationalism spreads around the world, Japan is being put in a very different position. The geopolitical and economic climate around Japan is fundamentally changing. Takaichi will have to figure out how to play everything from the US-Japan trade deal, where Washington and Tokyo have been locking horns over how to spend the $500 billion that Japan has committed to the US economy. Separately, the tie-up between Japan, China, and South Korea that emerged last year will either be pushed to the side or brought to the front. Takaichi will have to move Japan very differently from her predecessors, and her first policies highlighting Japan's new geoeconomic direction could be revealed next week. In geopolitics, disruptions are no longer slow, they're accelerating and colliding. The unthinkable is happening every day. The US-China cyber tensions, for example, point to this fight between the world's warring superpowers expanding into all directions. If you're thinking about what could strike the global economy next, what is the big geopolitical shock, check out my latest report on geopolitical capitalism. The link is in the description. If you resonated with this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and drop a like. Godspeed, good luck. This is Mr. Geopolitics signing off.